What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of True Sports with MK. I'm your host, yours truly, MK, and we are back with another video. Now, you guys see, I'm back to doing video for the podcast. I told you guys I'm gonna switch it up every now and then, as well as my camera memory card was not working, so I had to not record. So we back and we better, you feel me? So right now on this episode, we're gonna be talking about the play-in. As you guys know, last night was the last game for the regular season for those teams who played last night. So now we're gonna be going into the play-in starting Tuesday, not February. I'm so sorry. Tuesday, April the 11th is when we're starting off that play-in. And let me tell you guys the teams that we got on the Western Conference right now. We got the Lakers versus the Timberwolves. Then we got the Pelicans versus the OKC Thunder. Now, they are both battling for the spot in the Western Conference playoffs. They're fighting to get in there. And I told you guys last year when I did my podcast episode about the play-in that I really didn't feel like it was something they should have added. But now, looking at it, I feel like the play-in is something, it makes the game more competitive. Because now, you think you're safe no matter what in the play-in record or throughout the whole season if you're number 7, 8. But no. That's not how it works. 7 and 8 are not spots that are contenders. 6 and up is. So now we got all of these teams hungry and determined to get into the playoffs that we now have a play-in tournament that's going to help them get there. You feel me? We're going to start off on the Western Conference just because the Western Conference has been a tight neck run since after All-Star break. Like after All-Star break, all the teams from at least 3 to 10 has been 3 to 4 games behind each other. So it's like if you lose, like I told you, you going down, you could be in a play-in. So these last couple games, the Western Conference teams were fighting to make sure they went in that play-in. Because if you're in a play-in, you don't get enough time to rest. The playoffs don't start until I believe sometime of next week. This whole week, we're doing play-in tournaments. So from tomorrow up until whenever the play-in is done and we got our number 7th and number 8th seed, these teams will be playing. And then they got to go into the playoffs and play against the number 1 and number 2 ranking. Like, how fair is that really? Let's talk about it. How fair is the play-in? Because you're working your body throughout the whole 82 games. And now you can't make it into the playoffs, so you have to do it in a play-in and try to win that first game so you can be safe. If not, you got to play another game. And then if you win that game, then you get to play the playoff. That's such an exhaust on the players. Like, come on. How can they go into the playoffs playing against the number 1 or number 2 ranking and make a win? I haven't seen anyone in the play-in go as far yet. Like they get knocked out after the first round. So it's like, is the play-in really helping these players and these teams? Because they still are not getting there. They're going against contender athletes once they get into that playoff. So it's like, is it really fair? You guys comment that down below. Let me know, is it fair how the play-in is working? Because to me, I don't think it's fair, the aftermath, but the beforehand, as far as doing the tournament, I feel like it's cool. But the aftermath is making them like they SOL because it's a 50-50 chance they may win and they may not, But we're going to talk about the Lakers first and foremost. Now, the Lakers done did some sneaky stuff over these last couple games. They added Tristan Thompson to the Lakers roster, who we all know won a championship back in 2006 with LeBron James with the Cavaliers. So they kind of got that championship chemistry already just because they played on that team together. So adding Tristan Thompson can be a big move for the Lakers going on this stretch in the play-in and then hopefully to the playoffs. They're getting a big who can potentially help AD when he's not on the court. Because usually when AD goes off the court, they don't really have that center that's down and that's going to dominate while he gets that rest. Tristan Thompson is that center. He's a big center that's going to play good defense on you, as well as he can score and has great footwork in the paint to get points on the board as well. And then they also added Shaq Harrison, where he played his last game Sunday, coming out with a double-double by having 13 points and 10 rebounds. Actually, that was a game on Saturday, not Sunday. My apologies. So they're adding that point guard who I feel like could potentially help out as well. I feel like the Lakers have a lot of point guards as is, but he can probably bring another scoring ability. The second round group that's coming in once the starting five go on the bench. So I feel like the Lakers are doing a lot of stuff to potentially help them get into the playoffs and go far. Because if they win, they'll be playing against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Pelicans win, they'll be playing against the Denver Nuggets, while the Lakers will be playing against the Memphis Grizzlies. And what I can say, out of these last 10 games, LA has won 8 out of 2 out of these last 10 games. They have not been playing. They said, LeBron back, we going in. We got LeBron, we got playoffs, LeBron in the cut. It's over. They're trying their hardest to be able to do that, and they need to, because the beginning of the season, they were not even a potential contender for the play-in or the playoffs. I know I didn't see it. They were like 13. It took them a good while. Like after they traded Russell Westbrook, they had to come up and get into that playoff ranking, because at first they were not. They were nowhere near it. So once LeBron came back from his injury, he came back on a mission. The whole team followed suit. AD followed suit. He should have been doing that while he was out and injured, but AD, he fell in suit, and he's doing great. Giving me doubles, giving me 28 and 13. I like those numbers. Those are the numbers that we need to see for you to stay on a Lakers team and in a Laker uniform. Because you are this close, I feel like, to being gone at the end of the season. Like if you guys don't make the playoffs, you're gone. If you guys don't get past the first round, you probably are gone. So it's a lot weighing on your shoulders right now, AD. I don't mean to put too much pressure on you, my guy, but you got to do good. And everyone is watching, myself included. Then you look at the Timberwolves. Now, the Timberwolves did not start off as you may have thought they would. You know, they traded Rudy Gobert over offseason. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, you got Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert all on the same team? They about to go crazy with y'all bigs. They about to go crazy. Wrong. Karl Anthony only suited up for 29 games out of the 82 games that is in the regular season. So you already know the chemistry between him and Rudy is non-existing at this point, because they barely had time to play with each other. Let alone get a chemistry where they can be able to play a contender playoff basketball. Come on now. I haven't seen it throughout that whole season. And you see that they're now in the play-in. You could tell that it kind of went downhill, especially after they lost Karl Anthony to his injury. It was just like, all right, it ain't a lot we could do right now. And also, they had, I don't know if you guys saw the altercation that they had last night between Rudy Gobert and as well as Kyle Anderson, where a lot of words was going back and forth, and I even heard a punch was thrown by Rudy Gobert. Now, Rudy, you too big to be trying to swing on people like that. Like, relax, my guy, relax. No, you ain't got to do all that. You know, so that altercation shows you that the Timberwolves are not all the way there. And my money right now is on the Lakers winning that game, because I feel like they're going to dominate Timberwolves. Minnesota is not that team that's going to come out and play hard basketball to get the win. As well as I heard that Rudy Gobert is not even traveling with them to LA for the play-in for tomorrow. So they may not even have him. If you look at it right now, the dynamic of the Minnesota Timberwolves needs to grow better for them to be a playoff contender team. Especially if they're going up against heavy hitters. Come on now. I don't feel like they're all the way there. And they need a better, a better roster maybe. But besides that point, the Minnesota Timberwolves will really have to dig in and dig deep to be able to get a win against the Lakers in their hometown. They're going to have to dig deep and find something for them to get that win. But right now, my eyes are against them. And I'm rocking with LA for that play-in game. And hopefully we can see them playing against the Memphis Grizzlies in the playoffs. That's an exciting game that I would love to see. You know, I don't know who will take that one, but that's an exciting one. I'm going to be ready to see it. And now we go ahead over to the Pelicans versus OKC. Now, OKC haven't made it into the playoffs since 2020 in Orlando in the bubble. Y'all know who he had with him. The GOAT, my guy, Russell Westbrook. And you will be surprised they even made it into the play-in that season because all they had was Russell Westbrook. But let's get right into it. The Pelicans has ended up in the play-in again, where last year they played against the Phoenix Suns and kind of gave them a run for their money by making it to 6 games. But unfortunately, they did get eliminated in that first round against the Phoenix Suns last year after they made it out of the play-in. Can they make it out the play-in again to then face up against Denver Nuggets, the number 1 team on the Western Conference? That's the question, and we're going to get right into it to see if they can do it because they are playing OKC. Now, they started without Zion Williams, who was their superstar player and the potential breakout star for their organization. Zion only played about 30 games this whole season. Unfortunately, he has been out with another injury. This is making it like his 3rd season out of the 4 years he's been in the league. Now, Zion, I don't know what's going on, but when he did come back for those 30 games, he played incredible. No one was touching him. Like, he was dunking on everybody, posterizing other teams salty because he wanted to do a dunk at the end of the game when the game almost over. He was just on beast mode. And I feel like they would really use him tremendously in the play-in as well as in the playoffs. Like with Zion, they can do numbers as well as adding Brandon Ingram to the mix is wonders. Ingram is shooting lights out. Ingram is averaging over 24.7 points, almost 25, with also 5.5 rebounds with 5.8 assists. He's lights out right now. And I feel like if he comes into the play-in with that mindset of just going at it, playing aggressive basketball, taking it in the paint, even going for the fadeaway, just playing aggressive, he's gonna get their team to the playoffs. If he can beat OKC as well as Shai Alexander, because he's on fire in OKC. He's the main reason why they got into this play-in and could potentially make it into the playoffs. Do you hear me? Now, OKC has shocked a lot of people by making it into the play-in. Myself, a little bit, but not so much. I thought they could be a team that will potentially be in the play-in and have to fight their way out. I did not have expectations for them being in the playoffs. I just didn't feel like they were a team that was 100% there to be a potential playoff team. Not just yet. But like most spectators thought, they thought that the OKC would be at the bottom dungeon of the Western Conference, fighting for a lottery of drafting Victor Wembanyama. You know, I'm going to mess up my man's name, but Victor, you know who I'm talking about. Victor Wembanyama. I can't pronounce that. You know, I've been trying to figure out how to say it. I've been listening to people say it, and my mouth just can't spit it out right. But I will get it right for you. Just give me a second. But everyone thought that they were going to try to be down at the bottom, trying to fight to be able to get that draft lottery pick for Victor. But shocking surprise, they ain't even looking at that. They on their way to the play-in, almost to the playoffs right now. You feel me? And like I stated, Shai Alexander is the reason why they are in the play-in and playing phenomenal basketball to potentially make it into the playoffs. Now, Shai has been averaging over 31 points a game, ladies and gents. 31 points he's been averaging. That shows you he not want to play with. And he can move so fast and he's so smooth as far as getting to the rim. He has a nice jump shot as well. So it's just like he plays aggressive as well as Brandon Ingram. They will give each other a run for their money. It will be a tight-knit game, I feel like, if they both come out aggressive. If OKC come out sloppy, turnovers, it could be over in a blink of an eye. Same vice versa with the Pelicans. You know, so it's all about how they play and how smart and as a team that they can play as far as who will come out in that outcome. My opinion, I'm going to go with the Pelicans just because I feel like they have experience. My main thing with anything as far as championship playoffs level, I go off experience. You know, who has had the experience in this environment? You know, I don't believe OKC was in the play-in last year. So you have the Pelicans, who was there last year, who also got out and was able to play in the playoffs and went kind of far as the series goes. But you have OKC, who hasn't had that experience since 2020 when they made the playoffs. So that whole roster for OKC is completely different. Those are young, up-and-coming athletes. So I look at it as the veterans may get that outcome and take it over. But you never know. You can never count out their underdogs. I like that underdogs coming in. And OKC is like the underdogs of that team. But I'm going with experience, and I'm going to go with the Pelicans. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, OKC. I still love y'all. Now we're going to go over to the Eastern Conference playing where we got Atlanta versus the Miami Heat. You feel me? Now, these two teams, I feel like they are kind of similar with each other because everyone had high expectations for these two teams to not even be in this position that they are right now. I thought once they got Murray to Atlanta, I felt like, okay, all right, Trey, you got another shooter with you. Another player who's gonna play off of you and could get their own shots, own scoring ability, all of that. You get one. Y'all still can't make it into the playoffs, huh? Y'all still in a play-in, Atlanta. Atlanta. Y'all gotta do better. You gotta do better. And with the whole team being healthy, I don't know what's the issue. Like a lot of these teams that are in the play-in, most of their star players were injured at the beginning of the season or even in the middle of the season. I haven't seen anyone on their roster that is that contender superstar player that was injured. I can't. So my question is to Atlanta Hawks, what are you guys going to do now to make sure that you can get out this play-in again? Because you're going against Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo. The Atlanta Hawks lost 3 out of the 4 games that they played against Miami in a regular season. So if you look at it on paper, you will look at it as, all right, Miami go sweep them. They already beat them 3 games out of 4. They already go do it. And I look at it as you have a defensive beast as far as Bam, who's a power forward, who if you do a little pick and roll and he switch up on you, he got you in the mid-range spot. Like you may not be able to get a shot off in the mid-range spot because Bam defense, he could guard a point guard, shooting guard. He could guard y'all down there and stop y'all from doing y'all little razzle-dazzle. But with Atlanta Hawks, you have Trae Young who could lob it to any of his players because what's their big name? Capella. Capella, he's going to be getting up there, grabbing that ball and dunking it on you. As well as they got shooters that can shoot from the 3 as well. If Trey got it, he got Murray in the corner at the top. Go ahead and shoot that 3. He got a lot of players on his team that can shoot. So it's not just about guarding the mid-range. It's about guarding everything else and making sure that they can't get any access or any easy buckets is the main thing. Because as soon as you get easy buckets, that brings the confidence in you that, okay, we could do this even on hard buckets. We could score no matter what. And they get that in their mind. So I feel like Miami main goal is locking down on defense and controlling the paint area where they not getting nothing. If they could do that, I feel like Miami may could run out with that. I'm hoping for Miami to win. At first, I kind of want Atlanta, but Atlanta, they haven't been giving me that hunger or that fight. I haven't seen it, So I feel like Miami, they for sure came up a long way. They climbed their way to that 7th seed after starting off the season not so well. Very little rocky. So you got to give it to them for making up for it and coming out and playing great. But they also got to watch that front court of Atlanta Hawks. Now we're going to go to the last game. We got the Raptors versus Chi-Town Bulls. You feel me? I look at the Raptors as, they have potential. They have a lot of potential that I feel like if they make it into the playoffs, it will show. Because all they need is that push. In a play-in, that's that push. Like, all right, now go into this playoffs and see what you do. Do wonders in this playoffs. Because they going to get some heavy hitters too in that top ranking 1 and 2. Now, it ain't going to be easy in the Eastern Conference. Well, the Western Conference is stacked as well as the Eastern Conference. And whoever wins in the play-in will be playing against the Milwaukee Bucks, who's number 1, as well as the Boston Celtics, who is number 2 right behind them. Now, those 2 teams right there are no one to play with. And to see these matchups that can happen if whoever team comes out, I'm still kind of rocking with the number 1 and number 2 seed, because the only team I could see will give the number 1 and number 2 teams a good competitive game is Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls. And the reason why I say Chicago Bulls is because they added Pat Bev. Now, Patrick Beverly has turned it around for Chicago Bulls since he has came to the roster. Now, he brings that grit, that hunger, that go get it no matter what. He brings that to a team. And I feel like Chicago Bulls, they didn't have that. You got Zach LaVine, he ain't really that much aggressive. You got DeMar DeRozan, he's more of a shooter, a finisher type of guy. So he really not with the defense and playing aggressive and getting the team involved on the defensive side. You add Pat Beverly, because Caruso, he's injured, he's on the bench. He was that defensive dynamic. But then you add Pat Beverly, who grit, he from the Shy. He ain't playing. And every team he says he's on, he makes it into the playoffs with him. So if he could make the playoffs with the Chicago Bulls, I feel like he will give the number 2 ranking team a run for their money. Now, it would be sad if Chicago comes in and takes out the number 2 seed. That is sad, but it can happen the way that they play. Now, you got DeMar DeRozan, who's a phenomenal player, who's shooting lights out on the court. He's a great finisher, especially in the post-up, and he can shoot from the 3, as well as Zach LaVine. You have those 2 players on your team, they're gonna do wonders. And I feel like with the Raptors and Chicago game, their main thing will be defense. They have to control DeMar DeRozan and shut him down to where he's not getting anything. He's averaging about 24.5 points. And Zach LaVine is literally 0.3 points less than DeMar DeRozan. Both of their shooting percentages is up there. And I just feel like if they can control DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, the Raptors may get past them in the play-in. And then you look at it as far as Vanderly, he has helped and led the team throughout this whole season, I feel like. He led the team with 7.2 assists plus 19.3 points a game that he's averaging. So he contributes a lot to the team as far as finding open players, dishing it out to him, and getting those buckets that the team needs when he's available to score or has the ability to get that good shot in. We talk about the defense that the Raptors would need, but you got to remember they have OG Anunoby on their team, who will possibly have the assignment of guarding DeMar DeRozan, which is a big assignment that he will have to take on. But it's nothing new to him, as he's defended all type of players throughout this whole season. Different positions he's guarding them. It doesn't matter. He's gonna do the job. Now he's averaging about 1.9 steals per game, becoming the first player in franchise history to lead NBA in steals as well. So OG, you're doing pretty good out here with the steals, and you're making a name for yourself with the steals that you're doing and the phenomenal defense that you're playing on these great athletes that are pretty much above you. Like, this guy is only like, I think he's like 25 years old, playing great defense like this on these players that are been in the league for years now, and he's locking them down. I feel like that's a good accomplishment and a good recognition on his behalf. Like I stated, he could guard multiple positions. The way he plays defense, his alert instance when guarding a player and when playing off ball. He has great instincts to be able to know when to pick that ball, when to hop in, when to be a little aggressive, but not too aggressive where he'll get a foul. He knows how to do all of it. He's a young player coming into this league, and he could make a big stamp on this league if he shuts down DeMar DeRozan in this play-in game and take their team to the playoffs. I'm here to see it. I'm going with Chicago, though, for this conference, just because I told y'all I feel like Chicago may can get the upper hand. But you also got to look at the Raptors. They have Scotty Barnes. Now, Scotty Barnes has not been playing to his potential or has improved since last year. He's averaging the same 15.5 points as he had last year. Nothing has changed. And his shooting percentage has went down this season than it was last year. So you kind of look at it as like, Scotty, what's going on? Are you not getting all the work or help that you need? Or what's going on, And what I hear from the coaching staff, they actually want to build, their main goal is building Scotty Barnes up. Like, they're his franchise player, and they want to build him up. Their main goal was never to get to the playoffs. Even though it's good that they are, they really want to grow Scotty Barnes. And I feel like the play-in, and if they make it to the playoffs, it could potentially grow him and give him that aggressive, competitive mindset that he needs, because I saw his college ball and when he was in college, and man, that guy was going crazy. And he had the trash talk and everything. We gotta bring that Scotty Barnes back, because he didn't give no Fs. He was going in on players, dunking on them, looking at them, all that. He didn't care. We need that aggressive Scotty Barnes in the play-in as well as the playoffs for the Raptors to be able to make it far. If he don't come like that, they might as well just pack it up and get ready for next year. So that is my thoughts on the play-in. I hope you guys are ready to see it. Please make sure you guys comment your viewpoint so I can know how you feeling. Talk to me, I'll talk back. I like that type of communication. It works for me. But please like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. We on that road to 100 subscribers. I know y'all gonna get me there. So please like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm your host, yours truly, MK, and I'm out this thing. See y'all next episode.